the devaluing of men. And this is something that is due to feminism. It's due to that ideology first and foremost. But basically, this idea that men aren't really adding much value to your life as a woman. And why do I need to get married? What does a man really provide me? I'm a strong, independent woman. I have my PhD. I'm doing really well for myself. I don't need a man for protection. I don't need a man for money. I don't need a man for any kind of need that I have. Technology is going to provide a lot of those needs. Services are going to provide for a lot of those needs. Even companionship. I have social media, or I have Tinder. I have these apps. And if you're a Muslim, you have other avenues where you can have companionship or friendship through social media or whatever.
Companionship, like same-sex companionship,
or that could be a factor too. But even just in terms of friendship and social,
like just social outlets.
Yeah, social outlets. But for romantic outlets as well, like non-Muslims have those outlets, and Muslims sometimes are tempted by that as well. So technology is facilitating these kinds of innovations, are facilitating the devaluing of men. Men aren't really a high commodity in the modern world, whereas that wasn't the case in the past. In the past, you needed a husband, a good husband who is able to protect you, who's able to provide for you, who is, strong enough to be able to work manual labor and make ends meet. Like, this is not something that is easy for women to do. In fact, it's impossible for women to do, because when they get pregnant, they can't undertake any kind of manual labor, and they're in a state of vulnerability. So they need a man to stick around to protect them. And that's why marriage is so important. And when we see marriage as a universal feature of all societies, it's a human behavior. But if you devalue men, because you have their role and their function has been replaced with these kinds of technologies, these kinds of services. Women have been put in a position to just earn because they can do non-manual labor and earn a living, which is something that's recent historically in human history. Then there's no real need.
There's not a pressing need.
There's not a pressing
need for a woman to have the need for a man.
Exactly. And even like having children.
Yeah.
You don't need a man to have a children, because you have these sperm banks and you have these donors. So even that biological need that women have to have children, that's also been replaced by these in vitro technologies, fertilization technologies.
Yeah, and the other thing about devaluing marriage, or the declining rates of marriage, is not only the devaluation of men, but also the devaluing of children and the scoffing at motherhood. And that's a theme that I kind of touch on a lot on my Facebook page, because I see it a lot on social media, or even when people are talking, and the way that people address this, like, people literally, it's like a scoff. You're scoffing and dismissing motherhood. We have this dismissive attitude of, oh, like, okay, you're a mother, okay, good for you, whatever, like, you're a nobody, right? You do nothing. What do you even do all day, right? That's the thing. So then you're a joke. You're an actual clown. Like, you're a woman and you went to college, and here you are married to some man and you're staying home. Like, what is that about? What do you even do, right? So I think there's a devaluation of men, and then there's a devaluation of children and being a mother. So when you put those two together, there is this culture of marriage really is not that big of an issue. It's really not that pressing of a need. So I don't really need a husband, and I don't really need to have kids. And also, we're very individualistic, right? And I think maybe this is a point you are going to get to. So I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but, society in general, collectively, as a human, population, we used to be very communal, right? Or at least much more communal than now. And now we have this individualistic trend, and it's like part of modern society and these industrialized societies, right? We're very individualistic because, as you said, women can earn for themselves. Women can just go to college, they further their education, and they get a good job, like a white collar office job where it's not manual labor, so a woman can do it, and then that's it. Like, so she gets gadgets, and she gets clothes, and she gets Gucci purses, and she gets name brands and shoes, and like she doesn't need a man to get those things for her. And then she has her friends, and as you said, like apps and social media. So like, and who wants to take on the burden of obeying a husband, especially as Muslims? We know that obedience has a lot to do with it. So who wants to take that on? What a headache. Like, I don't need that headache in my life. I've got my job, I've got my friends, I travel. خلاص يعني, that's it, you know. The other thing is, okay, fine, maybe a husband for like romantic things and going out on dates, because we also have that need. So many women will be like, okay, fine, I'll deal with the whole husband thing. I don't know if I'm going to obey him, like, who uses that word? But I definitely don't want kids, you know, because who wants that headache? That's an even bigger headache than a husband. Kids screaming at me, changing diapers? No, thank you.